Clement's Homebrew coming at ya. Well, I kind of needed a pick-me-up. I got a little bit more work to do today, and I brewed a big stout yesterday, so it kind of put me in the mood for just this kind of a beer. This one's from Mikkeller. This is the Beer Geek Breakfast. I've heard some really great things about this beer and been excited to try it. It is a stout, of course, more like a breakfast stout, of course. It's 7.5%. It's 25% oats in the malt bill. So some of the malts listed in this is Pilsner, oat malt, okay, smoked malt, Caramunic, brown malt, some pale chocolate and chocolate oats, two different ones, roasted barley, and flaked oats. So that's the 25% would probably be the flaked oats, I assume. The hops were Cascade and Centennial, and it's made with an ale yeast. So I'm gonna get this one open and we'll give it a try. The color looked like motor oil coming out, old used motor oil. It's not that thick of a body in appearance. We'll have to see, but this is pretty black. It's pretty pitch black. No light coming through that. It's not a real big head. I've heard about some people getting huge heads, and I didn't pour lightly either. So it's a thin head on there. It is dark brown. All right, let's get a nose on it. Okay, it has a nice smell. I'm not getting all the coffee I was expected though. I'm getting some like chocolate, and I'm getting a lot of roasted malt. And I'm getting some sweetness, like some dark fruits, kind of like some plum. Or I should correct myself, it was more like prunes. Yeah, I'm getting like a mix of chocolates. I'm getting some really like dark chocolate, almost like a semi-sweet or bitter chocolate. And then I get like another chocolate that seems like a, like a milk chocolate. There are multiple chocolate malts in this though. Wow, now I just picked up a lot of milk chocolate and a lot of sweetness with a little bit of coffee tones. But not as much coffee as I'd expect. So anyway, it's not a super fragrant, but it's there. It's a nice smell. So, there's some layers there, I can tell. It's very nice smelling. Let's dive in. Cheers. All right, well, I can tell I have this too cold still. I thought I'd warmed it up more than this. But I'm getting hit with a blast of roasted malts. A lot of roasted malts on this. And I get some of the chocolate. I get some of that coffee. They do use gourmet coffee in this as well. But those roasted malts just come on strong. It gives you almost like a char flavor. So that roasted coffee comes off as like a deep roast, just a really deep dark roast. Could almost be like an espresso. Very, very nice. Almost, I'd say, a little smoky on the flavor as well. That's right, that's smoked malts. Man, I got a little bit of that sweetness. So again, kind of like some dark fruit. Wow, it's an interesting blend of these flavors. It's very good. It's an interesting blend though. I mean, I'm getting a lot of that smokiness along with this like dark char taste. So it must be a very dark roasted malt. The coffee's a little lighter as it sits in your mouth. Like right now, the bitterness is building. And so you can feel that. It's just it adds to that like char, roasty, dark roast that's kind of sitting and building on the back of your throat. It's interesting though, because the beginning you kind of get this like sweeter taste on the side, and the carbonation's it's on the lower side, but it's a fine carbonation hitting your tongue, so it kind of tantalizes you with a little bit of sweetness. But it really is a very dark roasted beer, that's for sure. Now, granted, I have no idea when this was bottled. So if by chance this is older, the coffee will have faded in this, because I did expect a lot more coffee on it. If anyone can tell by the label, please let me know, because there are a couple different labels. Wow, I almost feel like I got like a little bit of molasses, like a hint of sorghum kind of a flavor in there. Could almost give you a hint of like a black licorice, but not really an anise, but a black licorice, but just a hint, I would say. And it's semi-creamy, let's say. It feels kind of heavy going down. I mean, it's just such a dark roast, you know, but it's pretty smooth. Body, I would say, is a medium. Yeah, on the full side of medium. It does a pretty good job of coating your mouth. I'm gonna give this a few more moments and come back. Wow, as this is warmed, it's become a little more intense, some more layers again. You know, there's a good bit of carbonation in this, because when I swirled this, and I show you, you know, you can see some legs on there, and you can see that the head builds up on there much better than what I started with. Very nice. So it's warmer and it's going down creamier. I get a lot more of the molasses character coming through the roasted malts and the coffee. It's a very roasty, big roast, along with the bitterness from the hops and the roasted malts and the smoked malts, creating this like deep, dark, roasted feeling. I wish I had a really fresh one, because I probably get a lot more coffee character than I do. But it's still a really deep, dark beer. It's very, very fun. And on the nose, as I swirl and smell it, I pick up more of those dark fruits. They're very evident in it. And I'd say kind of some plum. As I said before, I got plum. I was getting also some of the prunes on that. Maybe just a little bit of fig on there as well. Some nice aromas, a lot of varying aromas. Yeah, this is a beer that you really need to warm up into the high 50s, low 60s to fully appreciate, I think. It's nice to drink it across the whole thing though, personally. But you need to let it warm up to those higher temperatures to really get all the different flavors that are available. Yeah, I would like to have had more chocolate and more coffee off of it. It's a really fun beer. It's a really good beer. I think as far as stouts go, it's definitely still though in that excellent category. I'm gonna give it a 92 for style as a stout as a whole, and kind of leaning towards that breakfast stout side. You know, on the breakfast stout, I would almost gear it down because I didn't get as much coffee as I want, but there's so many other redeeming qualities as a stout in general. A 92 I think is a good rating. I wish the body was a little stronger. Some really intense char flavors, but I tend to like some of those really dark flavors. So I'm going to nudge up just a tad there and go with a 93 on my overall. I think it's a really tasty beer. It's a fun beer. I'd buy it again if there was a date code that told me it was fresh. You gotta like that dark roast, man. Very dark roast with some char, light bit of smokiness. If that's your style, man, this then is a killer beer. This is the label that I've got. There are other ones with coffee beans to the side, but it is the Beer Geek Breakfast from Mikkeller out of Copenhagen, Denmark. And this is Kevin from Clemens Homebrew saying, life is too short to drink cheap beer. This was a great picker-upper for the afternoon. And I'll see you in the next beer review. Cheers.